Welcome to Life Lessons with Dr. Cunningham, where who you are matters more than what you do. Kindly subscribe to this channel and please like and share this episode. Life Lessons features high level professionals and creatives who share their lived experiences and lessons learned. Thank you for watching today, and let's welcome today's guest. Dr. LaFonya Jones-Hines is a licensed therapist in practice for more than 15 years, currently located in Texas. Both passion and knowledge propelled her expertise toward the apex of degrees to include a bachelor's in psychology, dual master's degree in professional and clinical counseling, as well as a PsyD in clinical psychology. As a master addiction counselor, she has demonstrated excellence in the field of addiction for more than 10 years, with a keen focus on the unique caveats of success in sobriety. This high level clinical work with addicts uncovered the opportunity for the family members to also heal from addictive behaviors, arguments, broken promises, and forgotten conversations. Her ability to help others find honesty and transparency in their lives and to feel free to discuss their hurts and share their tears and laughter has increased the healing journey for the families. Dr. Jones-Hines expresses creativity as a writer, dancer, and podcast host. Her curiosity leads her toward travel adventures, cultural events, and dreams about innovation and the future. Dr. Jones-Hines' expression of joy includes gardening, shopping, and enjoying her new adventure as a vegan exploring great foods. Awesome. Dr. Jones-Hines expresses love while spending time with God, friends, family, including her husband and best friend, Rodney. Not to be confused with the Rodney, that was my most recent guest. But welcome, Dr. Jones-Hines.
Hello.
Hey, how are you today?
I am fantastic. I am. How are you?
I am well. And I'm actually excited that we are able to connect. Just to share with the audience, Dr. Jones-Hines and I actually recently connected when I learned that I had a new cousin. I went
Yes.
to Atlanta like a month ago and visited my family members who lived in Atlanta. And my cousin Tanya actually is married to her cousin, who is James Jones. And I
Mhm.
and I learned about Dr. LaFonya Jones-Hines, who is also provides treatment of families and substance use. And I was like, this is excellent. I'm glad we're able to
Oh,
connect. You host your podcast, I host mine. And I was like, I want to make sure I invite her as soon as possible.
yes.
I'm
I
glad you're
love
here.
it. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Excellent. So the first question I have for you, just to dive into the questions, is
Okay.
when did you begin your journey as a psychologist?
It's so funny because this is not the journey that I started out. I wanted to go to college to get a bachelor's in something so that I can go to law school. And
Oh,
it wasn't until my freshman year, my suite mate was a psychology major. And so I was like, okay, I'll just major in psychology. And so my plan was to major in psychology, get a job in the field of psychology, and pay my way through law school. Well, my senior year in undergrad, I found out that you can't do anything with a bachelor's degree in psychology. So I was like, oh no, my plan is going to fail.
oh,
So well, let me go and get my master's degree. Let me go get my master's degree and then maybe I can do something then. So when I finished my first master's degree, my dad was like, so when are you going back to get your doctorate degree? And I was like, I'm not. And he was, he
hint,
was
hint.
like, he was like, yes, you are. God already told me you are. I said, well, I need God to stop talking to you because I am not going back to school. But then God told me, and I was like, okay, fine. So then I just stayed in psychology because when I started in my like clinical work, I enjoyed the field of psychology. I had still had this like little thing in the back of my head that I wanted to still go to law school, but when I got started on that doctoral degree and finished it. I was like, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm not going back. So that was my journey.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that story. Our stories are quite similar. My junior
Really?
year, my is the ring dance year, and that's the year you get your ring in high school. And actually have the balance of justice because I was so great at having discussions and debates that
Oh,
I was considering becoming a lawyer as well before I took my first AP psychology course, and then
oh wow.
went into psychology. So yeah, we have very similar histories. That's interesting. And then
That's
so
cool.
yeah, how about your specialization? What led to substance use disorder specifically?
Again, did not start here. So I wanted to work with sex offenders because I wanted to be Spencer from Criminal Minds. I wanted to work with the FBI. I wanted to be the psychologist for the FBI. But I so let's see, when did that change? Okay, so when I graduated from my doctoral program, I was looking for a job, and one night I had a dream, and I had a dream that this company was going to call me and interview me and hire me to work there. Well, I woke up the next morning, and I looked them up because I didn't remember applying for this job. I didn't I didn't even know what population they worked with. So I woke up and looked them up, and I was like, oh, it is a real company, but it was a company that worked. It was a rehab, and I was like, nah, this ain't for me because I didn't want to work with. I was like, okay, God, so who was this for? So I can tell them that this is who's gonna call them and this is where they're gonna be working. So then 10 minutes after I closed my laptop, they called me. Nah, God, you cannot be telling me that I'm getting ready to work with addiction. I was like, this is not what I wanted to do. So sure enough, they called, offered me I had an interview, they offered me the position, and I still was like debating with God, like, God, you must be still want me to tell somebody else this because this is not for me. So I started working there, and the thing about it is I didn't want to work with this population because my mom is a recovering addict.
Ah,
And I just thought it was just too close to home for me. And I just did not want to. Oh, I filed that up, locked it, and I'm good. My mom is in recovery. I was like, oh, I'm fine. But I started working there at the place, and I seem to have been good at it. The client seemed to enjoy the therapy with me. I would hear rumors about, whenever a client had me as their therapist and they saw it on the board, they was like, oh man, she tough, but she good. You gonna learn something. So I was like, okay, so I kind of just stuck with it, and then tacking on the family part of it. So the company that I was working for, they have different locations, and so they needed a family therapist in Arizona. So I applied for it and I got it, and I moved to Arizona. And they, when I first got there, they had maybe like 10 participants, 10 family members participating. But let me be fair, they did have therapists that had a full caseload during the group as well. So when you're a therapist and you got a full caseload, you really don't have time to focus on a group as well. So I told them when I got there, look, if you're gonna have me do this family program and you want me to grow it, I cannot have a full caseload. And they agreed. So they was like, as long as you agree to take on like 3, maybe 4 individual clients, we'll be okay with that. I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. So I ended up growing the company. So when I started it, they had like these worksheets and just kind of general stuff, which was fine. And I was like, yeah, I don't think this is enough. I don't think this is hitting like I wanted to hit. And that's what began my book, Addiction Hurts Everyone. So I started on that journey of writing my book, and before I left, I had like 30, 35 participants participating in the group. And when I used to do like a little survey so I could kind of see the growth of what I was trying to bring to the group. And I let my supervisor read the survey. I didn't read them. I didn't want to bias it. So I just let her read them, and she said all of them was like, yeah, they just said they want more of you because they all in programs they only give the family members like 4 days of programming, and the family members get 17, 14, 28, 21 to 28 or 30 days in treatment. I think they get a little bit more now, but back then they didn't. So the family members only got 4 days, and I was like, this is not enough, which is why my program is 6 weeks.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Now, what I'm wondering is through your work, especially specifically with the substance use population and their families, what lessons have you learned that you would like to share with the audience?
Uh, well, I've learned that. Oh, I've learned so many things. I'm trying to decide which one to say. So I've learned that family members are very green. They're in the dark about how the addiction is impacting them. Because a
Mhm.
lot of times when I made those phone calls for those family members to participate,
Mhm.
uh, almost every time I talked to one of them, they were like, well, I don't think his addiction or her addiction is impacting me. Oh, really? And so
Mhm.
I just kept talking and kept listening, and I will point out, see, that's why you need to be in the group
Right.
because of what you just said right there. And so I learned that society has failed family members. Uh, which is why again my focus is, yes, I do work with the individual suffering with a addiction, but I feel like I have to include the family members because I mean, even research says that it's going to be more difficult for someone using substances to get sober if the family member does not get the help that they need. Because what they fail to realize is that when the person using substances come home from rehab, the the family member still has the memories that that individual does not have. They still have the memories, they still have the hurt. So the individual that's using the substance,
Mhm.
they have gotten the treatment, gotten therapy, they've gotten a program for
Mhm.
themselves, but the family members are just kind of left to just fix the pieces on their own
Mhm.
and gather themselves on their own, and that's so not healthy. Because first of all, they don't even realize that they're hurting. First, they don't know that most of them had to learn how to survive in a house with someone addicted to something.
Mhm.
And so now what they've done is they have mirrored their addiction or their behaviors from the addiction. And every time I show the mirror, because I that's a part of my book, every time I show the mirror, they are always surprised at the fact that they didn't even realize that that's what they were doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that was a a big lesson learned for me because it helped me to hone in on bringing things to light for them. So that because a lot of times they experience things and they attribute it to something else. They don't know why they're depressed. They don't know why they're anxious. They don't know why their blood pressure is even high. They don't even know why they keep having headaches and feel stressed out because they're trying to attribute it to things um that's connected to them in their own life, not realizing that you're stressed out, depressed, and anxious over stuff that's going on in someone else's life.
Mhm. Yeah, you're bringing up such great points, and I'm so glad. I can hear your passion, just like it says in the your professional bio, and so I'm grateful that the families you work with have you, and also that the state of Texas, has an excellent clinician who provides sound, comprehensive, and sound systemic treatment to families and individuals with substance use disorders. I mean, as a marriage and family therapist myself, like what you're saying completely resonates. And so, what I'd like to ask you is maybe more specifics regarding one story, because as a clinician myself, and also connect to many other clinicians, usually we have at least one story of a client that led to a pivotal moment in our own career. And so I'm wondering if there's a client that you've worked with over the course of your years that you have worked with this particular population that was pivotal for you in your career.
Yeah. You know, honestly, it was pivotal for another reason. So when I was working at this rehab, my um, supervisor, he assigned me an individual
Mm.
who was not of the same skin color, and he did not want to work with someone of my skin color.
Now, was this
And
Arizona or Texas?
Texas.
Oh, okay, I understand. Okay.
Uh-huh. 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 Um, and so that was the first time I had experienced that so blatant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it was in my face, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And actually I have two stories. This is one is the second one. So I went to my supervisor and I told him, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to work with this person. And he was like, why? I said, because he's not liking the people that look like me. So I don't know what you want me to do with that. And the client ended up going to my supervisor and saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my supervisor told me, no, you're gonna work with him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. And he told the client, no, you're gonna work with her because you're gonna learn a lot from her.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, okay. So he worked with me. He did not give me any problems. Actually, of course I didn't give him any problems. He didn't give me any pushback. He did the work that I suggested that he does. And the day that so at the end of their stay at that particular place, they did like a cup hanging to, symbolize that they were discharged, and they discharged successfully.
Mm-hmm.
And they and in his speech that he made, he said, I thought I was gonna have a problem working with her because she didn't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, the best thing that I could have ever done was kept her as my therapist. Like I learned so much from her. And it wasn't like the you're one of the smart ones type of thing speech. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like it really did change his perspective, you
Yeah.
know. Now whether or not he went back to being his old self, no. But with me, he seemed to have opened up and did just fine. So, like I said, that's my second one. My first one was when I first got into the field.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at a psychiatrist private practice, and I was young because I think I had gotten my first master's before I had turned 30. So, or I was right at the cusp of turning 30, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started in the field, still really young, and I looked it. And so I had this client. She came in and she said, "You look like you the age of my children. What am I gonna learn from you?" I was like, "Oh God, what am I supposed to do with this?" Because I was new to the field, but I was like, "Oh God, what am I supposed to do with this?" And so I noticed that she was reading one of Juanita Bynum's "No More Sheep."
Mm-hmm.
I think it was "No More Sheep." It was one of her books,
Mm-hmm.
and I had just read it. And so I said, "Oh, I see you reading." I'm just saying "No More Sheep." And I was like, "How did you feel about the line she said about such and such, such and such?" And at that point, she changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, from that point, I learned that when you have a difficult client, or a client who you feel like, or who they feel like, you may not be a good fit for them or something. If
Mm-hmm.
you can find something to connect with them, you can
Mm-hmm.
build a rapport. And that was a pivotal point for me, because I was new to the field, and so you always hear about building rapport with your clients, and so I was like, okay, so that's one way to build a rapport with my client, and so that stuck with me, and I teach even now. I have associates, and I teach that to them too, to like find something if you have a difficult client, find something that you can build a rapport with, and that way it can help them to relax and then see you differently and see that you read and you have a life outside of here, whatever it is. It don't have to be anything personal. It can just be something that you can connect with them with in that split moment for them to change their mind.
Right. That's absolutely accurate. You know what? Thank you so much for sharing, because there's a lot of clinicians or I would say clients that are potentially going to be clients working with clinicians, and they may decide upon who they work with based on race. In my practice, there were a lot of clinicians or clients that I work with, about 75% of them that were meeting with the therapist for the first time because it was someone who looked like them. Now, so there is a sense of, highlighting cultural sensitivity. At the same time, the differences in cultural identity, whether it has to do with race, ethnicity, religion, or even age, does not constitute as a therapist that still can't help you, because they can be very helpful. But what you're speaking about is just commonalities amongst human beings, and how can
Yes.
you connect from human to human. But then that also helps someone to change their own narrative regarding racism
Yeah.
or
Yep.
ageism, which
Yes.
is excellent. We need more people whom are able to just connect on a human level, because then I believe that helps to reduce people's isms, so to speak, and when they are able to move past the prejudgment, literally, and that helps people to just see humans for humans. And I'm so grateful to have this discussion with you, sincerely. Now I'm going to move on to our next segment, which is our fun segment that we call Name That Tune. Are
Oh
you ready?
God.
You ready to name that tune?
I'm a child.
Now, I got
Okay.
a range of music here, ranging from about the 70s to about current. But I work to
Okay.
maintain a genre between gospel and R&B, just so that, Okay, so each song you're going to hear is maybe about 10, 15 seconds of the song. And it's just the instrumental, no words.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I hope
Now,
I
if you
don't
need a
fail
hint, I'll
this.
try to give you a hint, but just one
Okay.
hint. Now, I don't know if we have enough time to phone a friend, but you might be able to phone a friend if it needs.
I'm on my phone though.
Well, then just ask for the hint, and I'll share the hint if you need a hint. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the first one.
Okay.
The volume is up. Okay. What's the name of that tune?
Uh. I'm trying to get to the words because I know it's a long instrumental part.
Okay. You want to hear it one more time?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I can hear it again. Okay. Yeah.
We'll play it from the beginning.
Going out.
Were you able to hear it?
I can hear it a little bit. It keeps going out though.
Okay. Let me see.
It goes.
No problem. Okay. All right. So that
Okay. I need a hint.
need a hint. Okay. It's a female singer. Big wigs.
Okay. So it's got to be like Diana Ross or somebody.
I'm gonna give you 30
You
more
said,
seconds. I apologize, so that we could.
okay. Yeah. 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 Is it Ain't No Stopping Us Now?
No, close though. It was Shaka Khan, I'm Every Woman.
Oh man, I knew I was gonna be bad at this because I love that song.
No, you're not bad at it because it was close. That's a similar tune. It sounds similar. So I'm going to the next. I'm going on to the next one now. Next
Okay.
one.
Oh, SWV week.
Yeah. See, there you go. Okay, next one. Okay, what's that one?
Uh, mm, give me a hint.
Okay. He sings better when he's big than when he's skinny, according to some
Luther
critics.
Vandross. I don't know the name of the song though. I don't know the name, but it's Luther Vandross.
Awesome. Yeah. So it is Luther Vandross, "Power of Love."
Okay.
Okay. Here's the next song.
Kirk Franklin. Smile.
What is it?
Smile.
Yes, Kirk Franklin, "I Smile." And here's the final song.
Beyonce. I don't know.
Yes, Beyonce, "Texas Hold'em."
I don't know. I don't know the name of it. I just know it's Beyonce.
Okay, you know your music. You know your music. Dr. LaFonya Jones-Hines. Okay, cool. So that was actually our segment of Name That Tune. Now, I'm wondering, where can people connect with you and how can they also purchase your clinical resources?
Okay, so you can purchase my books and my candles because I make candles too. From Jones-Hines Institute, and Hines is Hines Institute.org. And then if you are in the Texas area and you need a therapist, I have a private practice located in Euless, Texas. And it's on West Parkway, and the number to reach me is 214-396-6503.
Do you provide telehealth? Meaning if someone's in
Yes,
another area of Texas.
yes. So we do virtual and in person,
Excellent.
and
Thank
it's a
you so
group
much.
practice. It's a group practice, so we have multiple therapists. So that if I don't have availability, or even if you want to, if your issue is not addiction, I work with everything though. So if I don't have the availability, we have some other options.
Thank you so much for sharing, sincerely. And Dr. LaFonya, I'm so glad you were able to join us today. And everyone, please again subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it with loved ones, okay? And until we see you next time, we hope you have a great one.